I suspect when most people think about debaters, they think about people with a really quick wit or a silver tongue, people who were born with these skills. And I imagine to some degree, there's truth to that some people are born with innate qualities that are likely to make them more successful at debating than others. But to what degree do you see it as an innate skill versus something that truly can be cultivated through coaching and experience?
I think it is the case that, some people have proclivities and predispositions that suit them to the activity, but it's not a very good organizing principle for an activity that wants to continue for it to only be available to people with inborn talent. And certainly in my case, I was quite a shy kid. And one way in which that shyness manifested is a real aversion to conflict. When I started debating in elementary school, I'd only been in Australia a couple of years. I didn't, in fact, have the language. And found it not only a kind of a training ground, but as with any activity or community that's been able to sustain itself for such a long time, I found it a kind of a channel in some way that can bring you from where you were to somewhere else. And even though that destination is not clear, the journey is so accommodating and it's rewarding at each step that I found it quite easy to keep going down that path. And I'll just say one last thing about it, Brad, which is that there was once a time, and the origins of debate are in kind of ancient Greek rhetorical tradition, where this was not viewed, rhetoric and debate was not viewed as a kind of an elite education, but rather something that citizens needed to participate in collective and really self-rule, right? And so, though it has become a kind of a viewed as a kind of a skill set or an education afforded to the few, part of what I want to do is to remind people that this was once viewed as knowledge and a set of skills that should be available to everybody, and that the activity has the resources to cultivate that in a lot of people.
Another myth, if you will, that I think even you shattered in your subtitle of the book. The book is called Good Arguments, but the subtitle is How Debate Teaches Us to Listen and Be Heard, is that you led with listen before be heard. And that struck me immediately as interesting, because I think one of the myths, again, is that we expect these silver-tongued orators, you alluded to the ancients, the Ciceros, the Quintilians, et cetera, that is what we have to come across as. But you, even in the subtitle of your book, point out, no, listening comes before speaking.
I think that's right. And I don't know what it is. I mean, it's very hard to make a statue out of someone who's listening or something like that. And so when we think about a debater or a speaker, we think about them actually in the process of oration. But you can almost look at just the mathematics of it. So a debate round is about an hour, let's say, and that's in a debate with 2 or 3 people on either side. You speak for probably 7 to 12 minutes of that time. And the rest of the time, you're listening, right? And in the lead up to that, in the research that you do, in the preparation that you do, again, there's not a whole lot of you putting your perspective out there. And it might be reading, which is another form of listening. It might be researching, which are other forms of listening. And that proportion, I think, is roughly right, that in order to get kind of 7 to 12 minutes of really good, concentrated speech, there have to be many hours of preparation that go into it.
Thanks for watching this video clip of the Speak Good podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, please check out our full conversations on your favorite podcast directory. We've spoken with everyone from the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution about what it was like to be the founding director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, to a member of Congress who describes his day job as being in the wrestling ring, to an expert storyteller who helps us understand how we can use stories to help us achieve our business goals. Thanks for watching.